Hi there, I'm Dr. Sujata here again. In this video, we are going to discuss the characteristics of sympathetic and parasympathetic adaptation. But before we begin, I would like to go back to the previous exhibit. And you can see here that there is negativity parked in the left side of the brain. And negativity, just like positivity gives rise to positive energy, radiation of positive energy, negativity gives rise to negative radiation of negative energy. And you can actually feel it in the environment, like you feel the pollution in the atmosphere during a cold winter. In much the same way, you can feel the negative energy radiating into the surroundings. And this has a term in psychiatry and psychology. It is called counter transfer. And you can feel your being itself being disturbed by the presence. This is actually, it attacks your self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-love. Okay, so this is called counter transfer, which is the effect of the negative energy being radiated from the negative area that is being held inside the left side of the brain. Now we go on to check out how these adaptations actually happen. Okay, so we can go back to the corollary rule in geometry, where if I had given the example of the equilateral triangle, that if the angles are equal, then the sides are equal, and the reverse being true, that is, if the sides are equal, the angles are equal. Now this is true for anything in nature. And in evolution terms, sympathetic, it's got that name, sympathetic. It's actually, it meant that it allowed people to put forth self-protective responses to danger. Okay, like suppose a person was being chased by a tiger, then he can put up self-protective responses such as flight, that is run for life, fight, stand up and fight, and freeze, which is perennial pause between the flight and the freeze modes. And this is a very important interval in nature. And this is the pause of nature. This has to be felt, okay? And the tiger can actually become a little confused, and there is a very great chance that the tiger may just give itself another chance. This is the beauty of nature working, and may just turn back and walk away, okay? So, so this sympathetic nervous system helps us to put forth these responses. So, if you say that sympathetic nervous system helps you to protect yourself from common dangers which early man used to face, okay? Now, what would be the reverse? That if you use the sympathetic nervous system, then the mind thinks that you are being chased by the tiger. Okay, do you get it? So if sympathetic system allows you to put forth protective responses in response to a tiger, this is for the early man. In the present day situation, if you're using the sympathetic nervous system, your mind thinks that you are being chased by a tiger. Okay, so you will see that these people who have made movements their primary mode of handling life, okay, and who are now holding grudge and guilt, and who are putting forth these negative energies into the environment, most of the times they are not aware that they are doing all this, okay? They are only aware that movement helps them, okay? So they actually, when they meet anyone or in any uncertain circumstances, okay, they actually feel the way one would feel when chased by a tiger. So every person who comes along is looked at with doubt, okay? And what is the they always think that this person is out to get them, and what are they going to get at? Okay, their mind feels that they are going to be called out. Okay, they are going to be called out, and the person can hold a mirror to their inner self, which actually feels like a vacuum inside them. Okay, so they are running away from being called out and from being shown the mirror, the vacuum inside their souls, because they have not handled emotions. They have not they have not been with themselves in their own company, and had not had the opportunity to know themselves better, the self, inner core. Okay, so these two things, that is why every person who comes is a tiger. So they put up responses which are already preset. So let's take it. So if it is flight, okay, then the response will be anger. Okay, so you will see that because then anger gets people generally get so scared that they get the things done. Okay, so they don't want to face that anger. So anger works for them. So they will get angry at small things. Then the fight. Okay, the fight is actually blame, judgment, and arguments. And if there is no redressal of this, then it can go on to creating physical injury, and they can injure themselves and they can injure others physically. Okay. The freeze mode actually is shown as passive aggression. Okay, and if that is not resolved, then they go back, okay, and they gossip and they hold you to public judgment. Okay, because judging you in front of you, they can be shown the mirror, so they hold you to public judgment. Okay, so so these are the characteristics of sympathetic adaptation. And if this is not addressed, then the vacuum increases, and the guilt and the grudge areas keep bulging in the brain. Okay. But then you can see that all this is actually sheer adaptation for the nutrient of not having spent, for the lack of that nutrient. If we go back to the Venus flytrap and the lotus, there was the soil was deficient in nitrogen. The lotus found a way to get it, but the Venus flytrap adapted itself to engulf insects to get its nitrogen needs. Okay, in much the same way, they have adapted through the sympathetic nervous system. This is just a sheer adaptation, and just realizing that may be the first point in your response to their behavior. These are personality disorders. Your response, that you will become less judgmental of them, because you know the reason. They have lacked the nutrition of the processing time with self. That is the nutrition that they have lacked. Okay, now let's go back to the exhibit. Okay, then you come to the right-sided adaptation. This is parasympathetic. Okay, what does this mean? Parasympathetic means something that is running parallel to the sympathetic. Okay, now people who show right-sided adaptations do not make sympathetic their primary source of energy. They adapt through parasympathetic, okay, and they use the sympathetic, okay, to help them get back to presence more quickly. they get back to the presence through the parasympathetic, and they allow the sympathetic to help them get back to presence more quickly. So these people have found the most efficient ways to living, and you will find that they are fully grounded, and you will feel an extreme comfort in their presence. Okay, there is a positive energy vibe around them, and this happens because they have experienced the myriad of emotions, and they exactly know how to handle every emotion whenever anyone who comes along and presents it to them, and they know themselves very well. Okay, and by sheer adaptation, they have risen to the level of forgiveness, and they have risen to the level of empathy without even using the sympathetic system. Okay, and these people have a left-sided brain that is not cluttered at all by any storage. It's a very free space, and there is abundant clarity of thinking, and there is a clear purpose to living. Okay, so if you see, their life is a myriad of colors, creating a beautiful pattern of their own selves. Okay, so you can see how sympathetic adaptation, okay, without being judgmental, if you see, this is just a sheer adaptation. Sympathetic people who adapted through sympathetic nervous system have probably had no hand to hold, okay, to take the right lessons home. They may not have had the guidance to take the right lessons home. Okay, this is the crux of that issue. They did not have guidance to take the right lessons home. How do you come to presence? This is the lesson that they lack, and this is the nutrient that they lack.